With Mo Salah signing a new 2-year deal, I think one of the most important things for Liverpool Football Club now is to find Mo Salah's understudy. Who will be the heir to that right wing for Liverpool? A crucial position, as we know, and something we really haven't had to think about for the last decade because Mo Salah has been there. But they need to bring in that person now. That person, that understudy for Mo Salah, needs to come in to start learning under Salah to get some momentum going so that when someday Mo Salah is no longer a part of Liverpool Football Club, we have a ready-made replacement. We can't just hope to go out in the summer of 2027 and say, all right, Mo Salah is no longer with the club. He's great. He had a great final season, whatever. Now we need to go find his replacement. No, we need to get that in now. It needs to happen because also we cannot have Mo Salah playing 50 games a season. He cannot do what he did this season where we see that fall off. We need someone who can come in and be a good backup, give him some competition now, and the dual purpose of getting him in there and getting that player ready to take over in 2027. So I've got 4 names, I think 4 potential heirs to the Salah throne on that right wing. Now, these are players I don't think are going to be as good as Mo Salah, so don't hear that. I'm just saying these are 4 players who I think the club will look at or could look at or should look at to see who could fill the role and fill the massive giant shoes of Mo Salah. So, number 1, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think Ben Doak is the guy. Now, he's been doing really well in the championship this season with Middlesbrough, but Ben Doak, still 19 years old. He's got 3 goals and 7 assists in the championship with Middlesbrough. He's got pace. He's got directness. The finished product isn't there yet. And, I was probably more high on Ben Doak last summer. I saw the potential there. But man, when you think about someone replacing Mo Salah, which I don't think is possible, by the way, no one's going to come in and give us 50 goal contributions a season and do that consistently for a decade. And I just don't see Ben Doak being that guy. I don't see him being dangerous enough. I don't see him having the finished product. Now, he's only 19, so, maybe there's something that clicks. Maybe there's something that happens with Ben Doak. I think this summer, we're going to either see whether he stays or goes. I don't think we're going to let him go out on loan again for another season. I think arneslot will have his verdict one way or the other. So I'm not seeing Ben Doak as a super, super viable option to fill those shoes. And to come in and be the understudy. Another big thing with Ben Doak is he's just injury prone. Lots of injuries, lots of issues staying fit, and that's a big problem because that's one thing Mo Salah has really excelled at is staying fit for the majority of his decade at Liverpool. So, number 2, Malik Fofana. This guy really is exciting. He is an exciting talent, a 20-year-old Belgian winger, plays in France right now, probably only about 30 million, 25 to 30 million, which might be a little high actually for this guy, but he is lightning quick, really good with the ball. I know he's probably more of a left winger, but I think he's played a little bit of both, and he's both-footed. So Malik Fofana, I think he's young enough to come in and say, yeah, let me try the right wing. Let me see how it works out. And who's to say, Liverpool do not need to have wingers that only, cut inside. I think that's where we've gotten into a little bit of trouble this season is not really having, for Mo Salah, I think everybody knows what he wants to do. He wants to get the ball on his left foot. When you have a 2-footed winger, gets a little bit more dangerous, probably a little bit in the vein of like Lucho Diaz kind of has a 2-footed approach. Cody Gakpo is probably a little bit more, wants to cut it onto his right foot a lot. And when he does, he's very dangerous. But when you're a defense and you know that, you're going to start playing to that. And when you are Mo Salah, who's probably lost just a bit of pace, who, you can play to that left foot way more now, and he's not going to beat you to the touchline quite as easily. But Malik Fofana can do both feet, do them really well. This guy would be really, really exciting. And we know that Belgian players, they do really well in the Premier League. So I'd be really excited about this guy coming in and kind of being that understudy to Mo Salah on the right wing. And I think he could come in and probably contribute right away. All right, this is probably the most ready-made replacement right now. It's Jeremie Frimpong, who I think has said or hinted at that he wants to go, that he wants to leave Bayern Leverkusen this summer and try something new. He's played right back. I don't think he would work at right back in the Premier League. I just don't think he's a good enough defender. I think we'd have a lot of issues, but I think he could play right wing, and I think he could do it really well. And, with a little bit of his defensive capabilities, he'd be a really good pressing right winger. And we know what he can do. He's a good player. He's played for top clubs, specifically at Bayern Leverkusen. He's a winner. He's Dutch. There's probably a little bit there that kind of pushes him over the edge a little bit. And I don't think he's going to be exorbitantly expensive, probably around 35 to 40 million pounds. When Liverpool played Bayern Leverkusen, he looked good. He looked dangerous. And we know what he can do on that right side. So very direct, very pacey, can get a goal, can get in there. He's scrappy, strong, powerful. So Jeremie Frimpong, 24 might be a little old to invest in a player that you want. By the time Mo Salah's potentially gone, Frimpong is going to be 26. He might be ready to step in right away, be in his prime, and this guy can play really good football. So interesting there. Last one here, Johan Bakayoko, the 21-year-old Belgian winger. Obviously, we saw him in the Champions League. He kind of tore our B team apart. And this is a guy that last summer I was really high on. I was hoping Liverpool would try to go get this guy because he's a really good attacking right winger. Short, kind of direct, pacey, loves the ball at his feet, can dribble, can shoot. And this is a guy that I think would actually do really well for Liverpool. And I think he could be one of those guys that kind of terrorizes defenders in the Premier League for a long time. So I would be pretty excited if, Arne Slot, Richard Hughes thought Johan Bakayoko was the solution on that right wing. I know a lot of people have said, maybe his attitude isn't the best or he doesn't have the work rate to play for Liverpool. But I think at 21 years old, he's a Belgian regular. Again, Belgian players, they seem to do really well in the Premier League. And again, not super expensive coming from the Dutch league, 30 million pounds. Johan Bakayoko, I think, could be a potential suitor for that right side, and he gets to come in. He's not going to be the guy right away. He gets to learn. He gets to grow. Mo Salah can teach him how to make espresso at the coffee bar, and also maybe teach him how to have that work rate, that passion, get him into the gym. Maybe they can be workout buddies and get six-pack ripped abs together. You just don't know. So anyways, I'd love to know what you think. Are any of these viable options for that right winger? Again, no one's going to replace Mo Salah. I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's going to be virtually impossible, but we're going to need somebody eventually when Mo Salah is done in a couple years. And I think that needs to start this summer with Liverpool bringing in the heir to Mo Salah's right wing throne.